Alright guys, how's it going? So we're gonna go through, give you my first impressions on the Team Affinity 3 cards now that I have used most of them. I'm just gonna do them in order here. We're just gonna filter and go through them. Ozzy is very good, but you gotta platoon him. 79 contact V right just ain't gonna cut it. Like it just won't cut it. But platoon him and he's solid. Obviously he absolutely murders lefties. JRAM has weird hitting splits. Good contact V left, but not as great versus right. But then his power versus right is godly. I don't know, this is a weird one. If you're a fan of JRAM, you're probably used to this type of stuff. You're probably used to weird hitting splits and meh fielding and meh speed. But if you hit with this JRAM in the past, then keep on going. He's actually really good. Like, actually. Like, if you can deal with the 61, or 60 rather, speed in the outfield, he absolutely annihilates everything. I'm hitting bombs versus righties, lefties. 90 contact's not the best. 71 vision isn't the best. But I would say he is good enough, and that glove is great enough, and how, because of his height, he'll get in front of things too. If you can deal with the speed, yes, very much yes. He's good. First base is a loaded position for Matt Olson, though. Well, first base is loaded in general, so a guy like Matt Olson kind of has a hard time breaking in. Like, this card is very good, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're just now getting into the game, do TA3, get Matt Olson, he's a decent first baseman. But if you've been playing since the start, when it comes to him versus Eddie Murray, him versus Ortiz, him versus Prince Fielder, him versus Castellanos, it's a little bit more difficult to pick a reason why Matt Olson would start over those. Because if you care about your fielding, you can go Eddie Murray and get better hitting with the fielding. If you just want to bat, you can go Ortiz or Prince. And Matt's not even the best jack of all trades because of a guy like Murray. I don't know. If you like Matt Olson, this card is good enough that I'm not gonna... I wouldn't fault you for using it. But if you're looking for min-max top tier, I think Olson falls a bit short. I want to like it. I really, really want to like him. He hits pretty well. He's decently fast. But in the maybe half dozen games that I used him so far, that arm strength has cost me a run in at least 2/3 of those games. Like, the second someone... I call it the Kenny Lofton effect. It's the second your opponent notices that you have a noodle arm, they're going to test it. A lot. And with how fast the majority of these, like, high-end cards can be now, that 50 arm strength is gonna be an issue. Even if you hide them in left field. Like, that 50 arm strength is... Sack flies are pop-outs to left field. You can outrun that. And his fielding isn't godly, so he doesn't get great animations to make up for that noodle. Like, if he had 97 fielding, at least you know that ball's getting out quick. Even if it's a noodle, at least it gets out quick, like with Kenny. He does not get that. He's a great hitter, though. I don't know. Every Orioles fan I talk to is a diehard. So if you are a diehard Orioles fan and are okay with losing a run from time to time, he hits really well for me. His swing is very nice. You just have to accept that you're going to lose some runs to the noodle. Welcome to the Crone Zone. No, really, though. This card... His stats don't make him look like a 98. But he plays better than a 98 for me so far. Like just... He's Brooks Robinson in the field. Even, like... If I'm getting shut out with the rest of my lineup, Cronenworth will be 2 for 3. Like, he's just that type of guy for me so far. Like, obviously the power versus left isn't great. If you're worried about that, you can platoon him with the guy who murders lefties. Like, you could do a lot worse than a Jake Ozzie platooning. He's pretty fast. Like, his fielding's really good. I haven't had him miss a ball. I haven't had a single bad animation. Like, he's been very good for me. Devers. Alright, so you have to platoon him. Like, he can't hit lefties at a high level. Crochet will absolutely devour Devers. Leiter, Lee, they all have a field day with 90 contact and average vision. This man makes Edward Cabrera shake in his boots. Edward Cabrera takes out a life insurance policy if he sees Devers in your lineup. Like, this honestly, like, we'll get to my top cards at the end of this, but a little bit of a look ahead here. He's in it. He's an excellent hitting catcher who absolutely annihilates lefties and has above average defense. The catcher debate's been done to death. You should know out of the catchers in this one, if you want someone like Real Muto, who's got good hitting but spectacular defense, or absolutely rakes but has only above average defense. I'm not going to tell you one is the right choice, but you probably know which you prefer already. You know, if you just cover up Teoscar's power versus right, he actually looks like a very, very scary card if you just kind of pretend that he has 100 power versus right. Sadly, if you try to put him in the lineup versus Edward Cabrera, you'll remember real quick that he only has 100 power. All around, like, Blue Jay fans, you can use him. He's good enough to use, and versus lefties he annihilates, like Crochet and all those guys. He's great. If you want to use this, I would say you platoon him with someone that murks righties but doesn't enjoy hitting against lefties as much, just because of the power. So I would say if you want to run him, you sack the bench slot to give him someone to platoon with. 81 speed is not bad for a corner outfield. I'm sorry, Pirates fans. I'm sorry. I'm sorry SDS did this to you. Like, boy howdy, it's a second baseman who's really good at contact, has almost no pop, and has god tier glove. Which means he's not what anyone's asking for online. Like, this card is not bad. The vision is excellent. Like, it's going to be hard to strike him out. But good luck convincing anyone that a guy with 54 power versus over half the pitching in the game is usable in a competitive sense. He plays everywhere, and I think that's Escobar's saving grace more than anything, is that he plays everywhere, and his fielding's not great. He's not Nico Goodrum, where because of his speed and glove you can put him anywhere and not worry. But it's nice to be able to, like, if you have to pitch hit your first baseman or pitch run him, knowing that you can rotate your Escobar over there.
Checking in, Bud. Hope all is well.
Thank you for the sub, Dave. Recording something. That's fine. Knowing that if I have to pitch run like Ortiz or Medelson, that I can rotate him over there.
Native Dave 1982 cheered. X100.
Thank you for the 100 bits, Dave. But no, I think and the NL West is kind of a weak, like, they're a pretty weak TA3 overall, it looks like. Sorry. Those that were playing in MLB 19 probably remember having a scary Trey Turner in the game. They probably remember. You can tell me he only has 101 and 87. Check the TikTok. I'll put a link to the TikTok in the description of this. He has the most frighteningly hard hit home run I have this year that isn't with a guy named Alfonso Soriano. Also, you can tell me he only has 74 fielding. He has not done anything less than perfect so far in the field. This card, like, yes, use this card. Use him at any listed position. Third base, a little bit sketchy because of the arm strength, but he'll run everything down in center. Oh, Castellanos. They were generous. I was not expecting SDS to be generous. They gave him 70, well, like 69. Nice fielding. That's good enough to start with a bat like that. Like that, like, we would all start Babe Ruth or Stan Musial, David Ortiz, Frank Thomas. If you'd start any of those guys, Mr. Castellanos has left the realm of evil within and is now in MLB The Show. Honestly, this card is terrifying. You put him at first base and he's 6'4". He body blocks like he's Ortiz or Frank. This card's great. Honestly, this card's great. And stay tuned for part 2 here. Alright. I feel like we just got this card. I feel like we literally just got this card. Oh, that's right. We got something that was very, very similar. Huh. It's Nelly. Like, he's a scary bench bat. The second he comes up to the plate, your opponent will be scared to pitch to you. If you try and start him in the field, you're probably going to regret it. Like, you can literally just Control-C, Control-V every Nelson Cruz card ever, and it's the exact same description. Scary hitter, not that fast, kind of not that great glove, nuclear cannon arm, probably shouldn't put him in the field still. Like, nothing new here. He's spectacular still, though. Like, for a bench bat, you could do a lot worse. Plus, disclaimer, homerism, I like Nelly. I'm an M fan. Like, I like Nelson, so. You know, sometime they'll teach Michael Brantley to run a bit faster. They'll make him do some wind sprints. And he'll have enough speed to be a viable starting outfielder for most people. He's a good hitter. His swing is really nice. His glove is really solid. But that speed is not good enough for the outfield. It's not. Like, if you had third base as a secondary or first base, like, teach Michael Brantley to play first base. He'll be in some lineups. Until then, it's the speed. It's killer. If you're okay with platooning, platoon Walsh with a guy that murders lefties and have yourself a fun afternoon. Like, you can see this, you can see the stats against righties. He's terrifying versus righties. And he's faster than Ortiz. And he's a little bit better gloved than Ortiz. But you gotta platoon him because, oh my god, that contact versus left makes Giancarlo Stanton look like a stable man. Otherwise, fantastic though. Hey, look, it's not Kike Hernandez. But you know, basically the exact same card in every other capacity as the old Kike Hernandez. The center field primary, who hits righties decently, hits lefties really well, has above average speed, a diamond glove, and he plays everywhere that isn't first base or catcher. Like, he's a jack of all trades. Honestly, I think he's worth a bench spot for me and most other people because you can literally put him anywhere that isn't first base or catcher at any point in the game for a defensive replacement. He's probably better than what you're running. Like, if you're running... Oh, let's see. Let's say you're weird and ran Nelson Cruz or even Castellanos in right field, and it's a one-run game in the bottom of the ninth. Meet your new right fielder. Like, faster, and his glove is solid. And his arm strength isn't bad. So, all around, not a flashy card, not gonna hit like a home run a game for you, but when you have to use this card, you will be damn happy that you had him on your bench. This is a weird one. Like, I get that it's weird that I like Trey Turner's card so much, yet I'm still apprehensive about this. This is essentially if you took Trey Turner's card, knocked a little bit of speed off, and put it in the power stats instead. Which I think is a little more damaging than we give it credit for, being a center fielder. If you want to use this card, it's the same Faustian bargain that you always make with a guy like this, that he's gonna hit more runs in than the glove and legs cost you. With 120 and 113 power, I think that is the case if you want to use this card. I think there's no issues with using him. Personally, I want my center field to either be max speed or max glove or both, and he's not quite either, but overall he is a very usable card still. Look, I'm a Mariner fan. This card isn't viable for anyone that's not a Mariner or a Ray fan. I'm not even going to try and tell you that this is a good idea to use in ranked. It's not, but if you were considering using this in a real lineup, you're not going to listen to me anyway. And I've already used him in a real lineup, so I'd be a hypocrite for telling you not to. Alright, on to pitchers. Why is this a thing? So I have faced this card 3 times already, and actually here I'm gonna go. We'll highlight the one game that I used him so far on Hall of Fame. This card scares me. This card is. This is endgame. This isn't like, oh, he might be endgame like we were saying about Cabrera and Crochet. Like, this is an endgame card. If you get this card, you could quit playing this game today, come back in February, and he's still an endgame card. Like, look at his individual pitch stats. His lowest control is 82. The 2-seam doesn't break, who cares? You're never throwing it to anyone except a righty up and in anyway. Also, that 4-seam is always 102. Always. Always 102. Also, even better part, he can hit. Because the nightmare wasn't really complete yet, was it? The nightmare wasn't complete. The man hits at a level that your opponent can't just lay it in. This is I don't have to tell you this is good. Like, come on. Splitter inputs don't work, so I'm not going to say whether or not this card is fantastic or trash, because you literally cannot rely upon his best pitch right now. Because splitter inputs drop on next gen. I don't know if they drop on last gen, but on next gen they drop 70% of the time at the halfway point. It's a known issue. I've tried different stick lengths, speeds, controllers, they drop. And it sucks because on guys like Chapman and whatever, you can get away with it, but that is Gosman's best pitch. And it doesn't work. So I'm not going to burn him yet. I'm not going to say he's good, bad. Like, I use him for one game. Splitters are unreliable right now, so it's not fair to judge him. Hear me out. He doesn't throw as hard as his real life, like that he does in real life, right? They're kind of mean to his control. They're kind of disrespectful to the curveball's break. I don't know if it's the delivery being so quick, like a Steven Strasburg effect. I like this card. I feel like it's very easy to aim your pitches with him because his motion is quick enough that you don't have to sit at the top with pinpoint, but it's slow enough that you don't have to draw any faster than with other pitchers. I think he's in that middle ground where it's a quick enough delivery, it screws with your opponent, but not quick enough that it's going to ruin your accuracy. And the hit per 9 is really nice. Like if the two-seamer was a sinker, we would be talking about top tier meta usable with him. But I still think there is a place for this in a lot of rotations or stables where you rotate your rotation. If I was grading this card based on how he's performed for me, he's performed very well. If I was grading him based on how his stats say he should perform pretty awful. He is literally crochet, but you knocked all of his velocities down by about 5 to 10. Like, he shouldn't be good. I don't know if he actually is long-term or if it's just like people not being used to his delivery or what, but I mean, Marlins fans, you can use him. He's not that bad. Like 107 hit per 9's not bad, but I can't imagine him making it into like a competitive lineup in any capacity, unfortunately. Hear me out. His delivery is weird enough to mess with some opponents. His cutter is very good because of his delivery. I don't think he's actually viable because he doesn't have the sinker, and they were kind of disrespectful with the four-seam velocity. He can throw closer to 98 or 99 in real life. So I think combined, not giving him a fifth pitch and not giving him the velo he has in real life, like, it makes it so he's in one of those spots that you can if you want, but you're not going to see him in every lineup. I mean, I had fun with him the game I've used him against a real person so far, but I don't think it's viable based on the stats. Just, I get that they didn't want to make another left-handed monster pitcher, but I feel like they were a little bit cruel to him. Like, homerism aside here, I think that this card is further from the real-life potential of the card, or real-life potential of the player, than a lot of the other cards here are. Him and Rodon both got done a little dirty. You gotta use them for yourself. I know. We've never had a great Marquez card. I don't know if this one qualifies as that. He's played great when I've used him so far. This is one you really gotta try for yourself, though. He only has 2 speed tiers. He throws probably one of the hardest curveballs I've seen in the game. Like, it doesn't break that hard, except for, like, sheer height that it comes down because of where it's thrown from. People I've played have had issues hitting him. I don't know. There might be something here. Between the 109 hit per 9, a hard sinker, the curveball that is the same speed as the slider, there you know there might be some there. Might be some there. Who knows? This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. 125 hit per 9. Cool, fine and dandy. One of his 3 pitches is a 2-seam fastball with bad control and bad break. I want this to be good. It's not. Feel free to try yourself. Maybe someone will find a way to make it work. But, like, no outlier, a bad 2-seamer. No. This should have been KB. Honestly, this should have been KB. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, this card's been pretty good so far. I mean, the live series was good for me. So I'm probably a little bit biased in this because I really liked the live series. So, you know, I'm kind of a little bit biased on that. I know that 2-seamers control is probably scary. I know. I know. Wait for it. That 2-seamer defies the laws of physics a little bit if you throw it to a lefty. Like, it's weird when a guy like Hader, who comes sideways with his motion, throws something that breaks back on you as a lefty, and I've had some truly foolish looking strikeouts with him so far. Also, 125 hit per 9 without even parallels. 125k per 9. No parallels. 3 different speed tiers. You could do a lot worse than this. Like, if you don't like Hader, you're not going to suddenly like him because of this card. But if you liked Hader and just kind of wish it was a little bit better than his live series card, this thing is amazing. This one's weird. Because I don't know if I'm the weird one on this. When I've used this Alex in like friendlies or online so far, I've been pretty lights out with him. Plus that 45 stamp kind of makes him a long reliever. On the flip side, when I've had him used against me, I've murdered him all 3 times that I've faced him. Like, multiple runs, dashboarding opponents. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's I'm getting lucky when I'm using him, if I'm getting lucky when I'm hitting him, or if he really is a feast or famine type reliever. His pitch mix is good. He has 3 speed tiers. He has really good stamina and hit per 9. Like, the break on that curveball slider, like, his stats say that he should be good, and I'm getting lucky when I hit him. So I think if you're in need of a right-handed reliever, at the very least, he's better than Kimbrel. Like, if you want a righty reliever out of the set, it's not Kimbrel. So it's by default Alex Reyes, who is honestly pretty decent. Just ignore the control stats and the break stats. He's a hard throwing lefty with the sinker, not named Aroldis Chapman. You can't really be picky. We don't have that luxury right now. Like, if you want a hard throwing lefty with over 110 hit per 9, or yeah, who throws a sinker and a 4-seam both above 95. How many options do we have right now? Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, this card's fine. It's good. I've used him a few times. He's fine. Lefty bullpen arms you don't get to be as picky with. Not this point in the year, we don't. Okay. Alright, so now what a lot of you guys are probably here for, which is to get my thoughts on what the top 5 players from Team Affinity 3 are. I will say my top 2 are very stable. The rest of them, you could probably make arguments for or against them depending upon your lineup. By far and away, like, it's very anticlimactic, but I don't know how you can not acknowledge how terrifying this card is. This is a creature. We're all gonna have to learn how to deal with them and how to use them. Second place, though, Trey Turner. That combination of hitting and speed and above average serviceable level fielding, very deadly. Especially at shortstop, which traditionally, if you're not using a cap, you don't have a lot of other options. Like, you're basically a cap or Wander Franco, and this gives you a viable alternative to those where you can get even more speed, or you can put him in center field. Also, like, his quirks, I'm not kidding. Check the TikTok for the video of his home run. He got that scary pop. Devers is spectacular, but you have to platoon him. I think he's good enough that I'm calling him top 5 in TA3 so far. These are early impressions, keep in mind, but I think he's that good against righties. That good. This is probably not a card you were expecting me to have in my top 5 if you know my play style, which is to be a little bit more conservative, good fielders, win a game by a few runs, don't bank on the hitting though. This is the very antithesis of that. This is, he might give away a run or two every few games, but he's going to hit in 6 or 7. And that's the goal every game with him. I will say, you probably want to put him at first base. If you can, if you have room in your lineup, you probably want to put him at first base instead of in the outfield. Some truly brave souls I've seen have been putting him at third base. God have mercy on you. But tell me how that goes. I'm actually curious. And then rounding out the top 5. Lefty bullpen arm that's a straight upgrade over a previous lefty bullpen arm that was already a very good lefty bullpen arm. 125 hit per 9, 3 different speed tier. Like, you can't really ask for much more in a bullpen arm than what Hater's going to give you. Hopefully this all helped you guys out, though. Stay tuned, and we'll be taking a look at the assorted home run derby cards here soon, as well as the collection Ohtani and any other cards that come out after the All-Star game. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe, all that fun stuff, and have a spectacular week.